Lennon. I love Lennon. I saw Lennon 4 times.
Lennon appeared at the Broadhurst in August of 2005 and disappeared a month later. The show told the story of John Lennon's life and starred, ready for it? Will Chase, Chad Kimball, Julia Murney, Marcy Harriel, Mandy Gonzalez, Chuck Cooper, Terrence Mann, Julie Denau, Salkin, and Michael Potts.
Crazy, crazy cast. This was the era of the jukebox musical and what'll be probably considered its heyday. Mamma Mia had sunk in, and within a span of 18 months, Broadway got Good Vibrations, All Shook Up, Times They Are A-Changin', Jersey Boys, and Lennon. Crazy. Unlike other jukebox musicals, very different, Lennon used its songs to create a collage of John Lennon's life. Director Don Scardino said, "We're singing the songs as him emotionally, from his point of view." Many thought that this was one-size-fits-all and simplified the legend, but the show aimed to say something very meaningful, with parts of Lennon's story being told by women and men, people who were young and old, black and white. This really emphasized how different types of people had been inspired to live their lives by him. I loved it.
John Lennon had written a lot of songs later in his life that reflected things he went through in his earlier years. For example, Instant Karma, about how much trouble John got into for saying the Beatles were bigger than Jesus, was used to punctuate this moment in the show.
The idea originated with producer Edgar Lansbury, who had the opportunity to pitch a John Lennon musical to Yoko Ono. He asked Don Scardino, who he knew was a big Lennon fan, to come up with a concept. For those who don't know, Don Scardino was a brilliant Broadway actor in the 70s. He actually played Jesus in the original production of Godspell, and he also led underappreciated musicals like King of Hearts and Angel. We like to call him the Chad Kimball of his time. True. Don is now a director, and he's actually the director behind 30 Rock. Edgar produced the original Godspell, so him and Don went back for decades and decades. And Lennon was done at the Broadhurst, where they had done Godspell together in the 70s. And there is Mr. Don Scardino. So cute. So cute.
So everyone working on the show, they were all huge John Lennon fans. They aimed to honor him. But audiences were big Lennon fans themselves, and they were very critical. Again, expectations. The show had a troubled San Francisco tryout. It was publicly known that Yoko was calling many of the shots, and Lennon was criticized for being too Yoko-friendly. The creators went on the... touchy. The creators went on the record that they wanted to tell John's story, not the story of the Beatles, but audiences wanted to hear Beatles hits.
Yeah, so you can see there's Will Chase with Yoko and Will Chase with Julie, who played Yoko in the show. There were archival footage and real-life quotes in the show, and the actors went into the audience to hand out things like daisies and stop the war cards. We have one of those in our living room. True story. Critics found this kind of thing to be desperate. I remember the audiences quite eating it up, actually, except for like a couple cynical, New Yorkers in the front. But people really, this was very much like a get up and be part of it musical. One of my favorite parts of the whole show was, if you saw it, this had to be one of your favorite parts, there was one part where all the men in the show sat on the edge of the stage and they just sang Watching the Wheels, and it was like nothing else was happening. It was very simple and lovely. So the music was very incredible, and the cast was just like top Broadway ensemble, clearly all these people.
So John and Yoko had actually begun writing an autobiographical musical about their lives in the late 70s, and it was going to be called The Ballad of John and Yoko. Two of the songs, India, India, and I Don't Want to Lose You, ended up in the show, along with songs like Give Peace a Chance, Power to the People, and Imagine.
That's the ladies in the show with Will Chase photobombing. Love that. At first, all the actors took pretty equal turns playing Lennon, but as the show evolved, Will Chase ended up with a lot more of the material than the others. He looked the part, and he was even praised by Brantley for summoning John Lennon's qualities without impersonating him.
The reviews slaughtered the show, although several had nice words for the cast. One critic said, "Lennon is not the cold turkey you've read about. The cast is terrific and the music is great. Imagine there's no critics. It isn't hard to do. No reason to shun the theater, and no Tonys too." The show played to about half capacity most weeks and closed in a month.
I was at the closing performance, of course, now we know, and Don Scardino said about Lennon, "I think we got what I was aiming for. We got his musicality, we got his politics, we got his humor, and we got his transformation."